What's going on, gamers? Digimon tamers? It's me, the Blue Raspberry Gamer, and we're here. We're so back. We're so excited for BT22. The regular release is just around the corner, but if you're a cool cat or kitten like me, you've been to a couple pre-releases, and maybe, just maybe, you have enough cards to build your first BT22 deck. So if you're looking for some Cyber Sleuth action, if you're looking for a place to start, because I think this deck has a lot of ways you can go with it. Here's just my first build of it. I will probably, like Digimon Adventure, have a final build later that I'll post after rigorous local testing and all that. But here's my first take. Had a little bit of play with it, had some fun with it. I think this is solid enough. So without further ado, let's start sleuthing. To start, we have the 4 new Wanyamon. The only egg you can play. There are other Cyber Sleuth eggs because this is like one of the multicolored decks that you know you just need trait. He has the CS trait, and there's a couple others, but he's the only one that matters because when you place a source from the top to the bottom, you can digivolve for reduced cost by 1, which is what you're going to be doing. This deck is very like the Dawn and Dusk deck, a lot of like recursion, and it's supposed to be like the games, but you can only really play this egg. If you play anything else, I think you're crazy. But maybe prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. On to our rookies. I'm not doing anything crazy to start. I've got 4 Palmon, 4 Terriermon, and 4 Hagurumon. All of these rookies do almost the exact same thing. I mean, they each have a different main effect, but the bit with all of these rookies is their inherit is all the same thing. You can place the top CS trait stack to the bottom of your sources and draw a card. Then, if this card is active, so if you go from a level 4, you tuck the level 4 under a Palmon, or under a Terrier, or under Haguru, they all activate a second effect. Palmon gains you 1 memory whenever you do this. Terriermon lets you play a CS Tamer if you have 1 or fewer on the field, and Hagurumon gives minus 3k DP. Now, I've seen lists play 3 Hagurumon, play none. Um, I don't really agree with that as of now. I just think if you can't cycle, if you can't like tuck your guy, you're fucked. So if you're playing like Ukomon or stuff to just get more surge, that's fine. But I think you really want to be able to do it. You really want to be able to cycle that source from top to bottom and get that draw, and more importantly, get all the other effects you'll have when you have multiple bodies in your stack. Because this deck operates that you need to have 2 of the same level card in stack to do pretty much anything. So it's usually going to be 2 level 4s because you're going to push out a rookie, either Digivolve there or Digivolve in the back, then push out, then tuck and Digivolve again for reduced cost with the egg. But I think you really need just the full 12 rookies. I could be wrong on this. I think this is, part of the fun in deck building, especially with our unified release that we really have no data to go on yet. But I'm just doing the most basic thing for our rookies. For our champions, I'm running. Jesus Christ. Coughing up a gold Numamon, maybe. He's the best champion, I think. Purely for his inheritable, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with CS trait, reduce the cost by 1. I think that's really helpful, so especially if you go like Palmon, Digivolve into Numamon. He has a main effect, and on play when Digivolve, to give one of your opponents Sec -2, and then if this Digimon has 2 or more cards of the same level in its stack, he can warp up to Platinum Numamon, ignoring requirements for a cost of 4. But say you tuck one, draw, then go into another one for 1. Now you're just like kind of cooking with Numamons, right? You're going to be getting that great reduction, but I just think that's really good. I just think most of the inherits, because this deck really likes to go to the top end, and you do a little bit on the way up, which you'll see, but not as much as you want to get up to your guy. So I don't know. I think this helps the most in doing that, and Sec -2 ain't nothing to scoff at, I guess. I mean it is, but I don't know. I think the more important is his inheritable. And then I played 2 of the rest, 2 guard, 2 toga, 2 Gargo. I'm really testing these out. I've actually really liked Gardramon. So all of these have a similar thing of on play when digivolving, except for Gargomon, which we'll talk about. So these two are very similar. On play when digivolving for Gardamon, you give minus 3k. Then, if you have 2 or more same level cards, you can de-digivolve. De-digivolve is really strong, I feel like, this format. It really fucks with stuff like puppets. It really fucks with eaters. If they have their, one eater, you just de-digivolve it back onto the tamer and kind of get rid of a body, which is nice. Then they all have inheritables of DP, either opponent's turn, your turn, or all turns. Togemon is on play when digivolving. One of your Digimon gets 3k. Doesn't have to be this one. Then, if this Digimon has 2 or more same level cards in the stack, this Digimon gains Raid and Piercing. So you can split up the DP, but he will always gain the Raid and Piercing. And then Gargomon, if you have 1 or fewer Tamers, you may play a Tamer with the CS trait from your hand without paying the cost. So you've already seen Terriermon playing Tamers for free, Gargomon playing Tamers for free, and we have another card that's playing Tamers, because this is a very Tamer-heavy deck, if you did not know. But we just want ways to do that. I think, we could cut and change to more of one champion over the other, but I'm not too sure on which. I just know Golden Umamon feels really, really good. This also is a lot of champions, but I don't know. 10 feels good because you're going to be recurring a lot. So one stack's usually going to have you're going to waste 2 champions on it. And I say waste, but you're using 2 champions for one stack, which sometimes feels a little like wasteful. So you do need a heavier hand of them. Onto your ultimates, where the deck starts to come together. I think I have 4 Rise Greymon. I would like to bump him up to 5. You will see a card that, or 4, bump him to 4. I would love to play 5. Ooh, playing 5 of a card would be crazy. But playing him, I would love to do it at 4. I do have a 1 of level 5 that could definitely get taken out. But I think he's funny, and for now, I'm not doing that. For now, no. So, Rise Greymon has Raid, and then when Digivolving, play a Tamer if you have 1 or fewer. So, pretty good. Now, that's really good, right? The play a Tamer, nice. Raid, nice. More importantly, stack +1 inherit. And since this deck can stack sources and stack any, as long as you have that rookie, which in this build you will always have that rookie at the bottom, you can just tuck a Rise Greymon, digivolve into another Rise Greymon, and have sec +2 just inherit, which could be pretty crazy. It's really good on your top end. We play for our other main level 5 Okuomon. He has Fortitude, then on play when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then, if this has 2 or more same level cards in its stack, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with the lowest DP to hand. Really good effect, really good removal, because not only can you can tap something and remove something else, which is really nice, because his inherit is when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash your top security. That one of the better green inherits that's like come around in a lot of these bug guys. But I just think that's really strong. I think he's got a really strong regular removal. It's like one of your biggest ways of removal before level 6. So I think that's like nice. I mean, you can clear stuff with minus DP and de-digivolve and that kind of, and like raiding into smaller bodies, but he's your first like major source of removal. So I could see either one of these becoming a 4 of, but instead of playing a smart 4 of a good level 5, we play 1 Skull Marimon. I just think he's funny. I think he's got a fine inheritable that helps. On deletion, play a level 4 or lower, which you'd probably want to play your rookie back out, which is nice. He's got a nice main skill. You can pay 3, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower. If you don't, this Digimon gains sec +1 in attacks. Imagine having a Rise Greymon in sources, going up into him and doing that. And then on deletion, he draw to trash 1, which is more cycle through your deck. I just think he's pretty versatile, fun card. He can pop any level 5 or lower, which is a fun little effect. I think you get a lot of DP buffs in this deck, so he can live those 2 checks a lot of times if there's nothing on field. I don't know. I think he can definitely be taken out. There's a couple like cards I've already got in mind to get rid of him, but for now I'm just trying it out because I think he is funny. Right, he will be cut probably, unless this deck just turns into that. But I mean, I do plan on Miramon Jimmy Ken deck later once I've got all those cards. On to the star of the show, our level 6s. First, we have Alphamon. 3 Alphamon. Could be 4, I think. Again, I don't know. I think one of the strengths of this deck is its toolbox nature, so really committing fully to Alphamon and then having something that Alphamon can't handle is rough, so that's why I don't do that, but he's the best guy. So he can Digivolve on anything for 3, and then if you have 3 or fewer security, he can go on top of Kyoko the Tamer for 5. You're like, okay. Then he's reboot blocker, so great, he can reboot and block. More importantly, on play when Digivolving, when attacking, not once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5k. Cool. Then all turns when this Digimon suspends, so if it blocks or attacks, if it has the Tamer or 2 of the same level cards in its stack, it gets plus 3k and he unsuspends, which activates, he's tapping, so he'll get minus 5k. So you see the pattern here. If you Digivolve and keep turn with him, give something minus 5k. Swing, unsuspend, minus 5k, swing, minus 5k, and then you can either get sec plus 1 with your inherit, or swing into something, trash security, because you're like weakening it with minus DP. He's the best level 6 for the deck, maybe? Maybe? I don't know. I think so. And then look at this alt art. You gotta pay respects to the sick alt art. So gotta play that in there. Next we have 2 Gaiomon. I think Gaiomon's also pretty busted. He has raid reboot, so 2 guys with reboot, so they're always swinging in and restanding. Then, when Digivolving, you may unsuspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then this guy can attack. So you don't have to unsuspend to make him attack, but you can swing with Raid, and all turns when an attack target changes, not just changes for this Digimon, this guy gains Piercing and 5k for the turn. So he just gets really big. He gets up to 18k with not accounting for any of the DP boosts that you already have in the stack. He's really good with the Okuamon. I think Alphamon's really good with the Rise Greymon. He's really good with the Okuamon inherit. Just raiding in, trashing security, piercing, all good shit. And Alphamon just swing sec plus 1, swing plus sec plus 1 to get rid of 4 checks the turn he comes out is really good. And then finally, another guy that could probably be replaced, 1 Platinum Numamon. I think him being able to skip the level 5 phase with Gold Numamon, which I play 4 of, is really nice. He can just warp up. And then on play when Digivolving, you give minus 8k to just anything for the turn. And then he has a weird effect that I don't know how often this will come up, but if it could, it will be really good. When any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, one of your other Digimon with CS trait may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the CS trait in hand without paying the cost. The problem with that is this deck doesn't often play 2 stacks. You kind of always have 1 stack, so you do have to kind of set up for this. It definitely is out of your way of what you're doing, but if you can get it, just Digivolving for free Digivolving for free is always really nice. So I think the ideal would be you have a stack out, like a level 5 or something, and then because you can just, I know, it's so memory inefficient, but you can play a gold Numamon. I mean, you can't. You can't even do that because you need 2 stack to do it. I don't know. I don't really know the best way to do this. It's just, I guess hard play him, right? Hard play him for 9, I guess. And then, one of you guys can Digivolve for free. I guess that's not the worst thing, given if you have memory. This deck does have memory boost, but I think he's kind of a fun card. I think minus 8k. I think the good part is he can Digivolve over any of your level 5s, minus 8k, and then if you haven't used your level 3, you just tuck him back and then Digivolve into one of your better level 6s. And I think that's really nice. Minus 8k ain't nothing to sneeze at. And in 9 play cost, you can also reduce that with other cards in the deck. So, I don't know. I think there's potential here. Maybe I would need to go a little heavier on him to fully see that potential, but for now it's this. I've thought about Leopardmon Ace. I just don't think he's that good, actually. I've thought about Kintaurismon. I just don't think that's this deck. So, ideally, this probably could be another Alphamon or Gaiomon, or it could be the Dianamon. But I don't know. I don't know if I think Dianamon would be the best choice for this slot. But right now, I just want to go with the purest CS build to try it out. Right? I think the first deck. This is just coming straight from my loins. So, and that is it for a Digimon. Sorry, no Omnimon in this version. I could. I wanted to, but not yet. So Tamers. This deck plays a fuck ton of Tamers, and your most important Tamers is Ami. She is a 4 cost, which doesn't matter because you're usually playing her off one of the many effects. And she has start of turn, gain a memory if your opponent has a Digimon. Classic, iconic. And then the important part, when any of your Digimon digivolve into a Digimon with the CS trait, if it has a Digivolution card with the same level in its stack, you can tap this Tamer and it can Digivolve up without paying the cost. What that means for you is Terriermon, suck, draw a card. When you Digivolve into Gargomon, since you have 2 level 4s, you can then Digivolve into a level 5 for free. And that's nice, right? That's really nice. Then you have all your inherits. You pop off, but it's it is a game changer. It's you can sometimes do it at level 5. If you have a level 5 in the back or have a level 5 that survives a turn, you can tuck the top, Digivolve into a level 5, then Digivolve into a level 6 for free. But most often, you're going to be doing level 4 to level 5 with the Ami. Then we have one of our greatest ways to just get through the deck, Mirai. So we have 3 Mirai, who is a weird starter main, but it's nice. Starter main, by returning this Tamer to the bottom of the deck, you may play a Mirai with a cost of 4 or higher, which you're not going to do. Or you can play a 4 cost or higher Tamer with CS trait in your hand without paying the cost. So the best hit off this is the Ami, I think. I mean, the Kyoko is also good, but I think, in my opinion, you're always gonna want to go here to here. And then the good bit, on play, by trashing a card with CS in its trait, draw 2. So it just helps you get through your deck because you do need a large hand size and you do need to see all your pieces to do this shit. Another way to search, Yugo Kamishiro. On play, he reveals top 3 and then add 1 card with CS among them to your hand, return the rest to the bottom, and then when any of your Digimon or Tamers with CS would be played, by returning this to the bottom, you can reduce the play cost by 2. He's really good in Eaters. I feel like he's also just a really good searcher in this. When I'm talking about Platinum, Platinum Numon, the big one, right? You can tap this he doesn't cost 9 anymore, costs 7. Or if you have both, right? Oh, he can cost 5, which is not the worst, but I just think he's an extra little bit of search power you need, and he's the tamer that these 2 tamers are always like leaving the field. So you have a weird thing in this deck where you're trying to almost always just have 2 tamers on the field, and one of them you kind of want to be one that goes away because a lot of your guys, I think it's actually all of your guys that play tamers, say if you have 1 or fewer. So these 2 cards can kind of just disappear to keep your tamers like low or even, and that's pretty nice. So you can keep playing out tamers for free. It also helps you from decking out. Both these can go to the bottom, save you if you have, you're running out of deck. Now our big secret rare girl, Kyoko, we play 2 of these. I would like to play 3, I think. Maybe cut a Mirai, but I don't know. She's your memory setter, and then all turns, this is a really good effect. When any of your level 4 or higher are deleted, you can tap this tamer and return 1 CS trait Digimon card from your trash to hand. So you can grab back any piece you need. You can't grab back tamers or options, which is not the best. And then when when the tamer unsuspends, so at the start of your turn, when she unsuspends, if you don't have an Alphamon, this tamer can Digivolve up to Alphamon for reduced cost by 2. Remember, you do need to have 3 or fewer security to do this because she doesn't say ignoring the requirements, but it's nice to just be able to go up an Alphamon. Although I do feel like, so you go up an Alphamon for 3, and say you have Kyoko and Ami on field, you have 4 memory and you're wasting 3 of it to go into Alphamon. So you better be able to win with that Alphamon, or you've just spent your whole right. You spent your whole memory on this. So that's where I'm like, I think 2 is fine because it's a cool comeback mechanic. But I think you're mainly using this to be a memory setter and then grabbing pieces back when things are deleted, so you're not running out of stuff. And then our final tamer, uh, Yuko. Now Yuko would be the other Kyoko or any other tamer, but I did pull an alt art, so I do have to legally play it. She is starter main. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory. Nice. In all turns, when the attack target changes by tapping this tamer for the turn, your Digimon's effects don't affect one of your Digimon. You can pick any because it's just with Greymon, which you don't care about, or CS in the trait, and it gets 3k. So you're mainly doing this for Alphamon and Gaiomon. You know, when they raid, you can. I mean, you could raid with lower guys with the Togemon, but raid block, both activate Yuko. I think it's cool to give them the protection because you really don't have any protection in this deck if you've noticed. Like I do have one more card to show off, but one more option, and it's just not protection. And as you see, this is also a lot of tamers, like just Jesus Christ. But you do kind of need them to pop off. I mean, it's Cyber Sleuth, right? Yeah, that's what you care about, the fucking tamers. Our final guy, or card, is the Cyber Sleuth memory boost equivalent, the Kuramai Detective Agency. So, you know, it's the place from the game. Woo! It's just memory boost, but CS. It's just search top 3, add a CS, and then pop gain 2 memory, delay. I mean, you need to play 3. It's you need memory in this deck, and it's just nice search. So you really right, you just kind of have to. I wouldn't play the other option at all because it's kind of PP bad. I just don't think you have space in it. You want to, you know, you're already playing enough like Glibglorb nonsense in this deck that's not Digimon. So I don't really think cluttering the deck with more options is the way to go. But I would play a playset of this in there. And you know, that's my initial CS. I think right, we got our girl, we got our guy. I guess girl, right? Alphamon don't wanna be rude. And they just make a fun deck. In my opinion, it's a very fun style that they've kind of refined. They've made less, I guess, broken than Dawn and Dusk, but we'll see. I think it still has strong potential because Alphamon, I think, is a really good card. I think I could definitely see myself pivoting more towards Alphamon and like that just being the guy, but I don't think you should count Gaiamon out. I think there's a bunch of ways you can play this, so you can take this list and kind of branch off, do whatever you want. You know, comment down below. What way are you going with Cyber Sleuth cards? Because I think this is my kind of toolbox variant, kind of jack of all trades, and eventually I'll pigeonhole it into what I want to do. Because I've never actually played the Dawn and Dust deck in the card game, so this will be my first time doing this kind of de-digivolve yourself, build a big stack, go Unga. But I'm excited. So happy Cyber Sleuth release. Make sure you or Cyber Eden. I'm sorry, BT22. Also, I didn't say any of the set names from these cards because this is all from BT22. You can just pick up your BT22 pre-release and your boxes or whatever, and build this if you get the secret rare. If you get the secret rare, I will say the other secret rare is also nice in this deck. I sadly just don't have any, so I kind of built it around and like played with it without doing that. And I can definitely see that card going in. I can definitely see myself getting rid of Gaiomon and doing like Dianamon and adding the Sayo Tamer, but I want to definitely test this out first. I will let you guys know how that goes because you know you'll see another one of these videos and keep your eyes out for more BT22 deck profiles. I've got a couple cooking, some puppets, some Marimon nonsense, and maybe some Omnimon shit. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching. I've been the Blue Raspberry Gamer. This has been the CS deck profile to start off your new set. Make sure you comment what you want to play in the set. What are you excited for? And I will see you all next time. Bye bye.